day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to bring you a very important update on Cardano. Lots of interesting stuff going on. We broke out bullishly from this wedge formation. So in this video, we're going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what I see happening both short-term and long-term, and mention some major macro news events with Cardano that you need to be aware of. So folks, if you like the sound of that, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. So folks, lots of interesting stuff to discuss with Cardano today. Let me just begin by breaking down all these lines and all these things we're seeing out here on the chart. So Cardano is forming this wedge. We seem to have broken out bullishly, which is a good thing, but concerningly, we're continually getting rejected off a very price reactive zone, that being just under $1.27 from I'd say $1.26.5 to $1.27, very price reactive zone. We can see over here we tried to get candles closing above this region, we could not, and here we're getting wicked off these regions, rejected off these regions. So to see bullish continuation, we need to see Cardano hold above $1.27. If and when we can hold above $1.27, I think that next micro impulse takes us to about $1.35. We can see there's a spike in volume building up in these regions here. And again, we got wicked off these regions, very price reactive zone. So I think $1.35 around that zone here is going to be the next major resistance level. If we can get above and hold it above this key level here, I think that next impulse takes us to all-time highs. And from all-time highs, I think, you know, $1.57 to $1.60 kind of makes sense for our next stop. We have a fib level lined up with a psychological potential resistance level of $1.60 right around these regions. So I think that makes sense for that little micro impulse above all-time highs, if and when we can get that. So a few things to discuss here. If we go to the 6-hour EMA, I think, sorry, the 6-hour chart here, I think the 100 EMA has historically been a very important support level for Cardano. So as we can see here and kind of in these regions here, it was acting as support. So last time we pump dump, we found support there, pump dump, found support there. So that's kind of been a floor for Cardano. So currently the 100 EMA on the 6-hour is just under $1. I think, you know, given some time, if we broke down bearishly, I think that's kind of the measure of last resort for Cardano. If we break down bearishly, I'd say from at this point kind of $1 to I'd say $1.07. From $1.07 to $1.02 is where we see a large peak in volume. So if and when the 100 EMA on the 6-hour can line up with this region here, oof, I believe that's going to be very strong support for Cardano, and I believe that might be our next stop if this bullish momentum from this breakout cannot maintain. Now, I've drawn a pitchfork here that I think will be very valid moving forward, and very interesting to understand what the next move is with Cardano. So from this bottom to the top of this impulse here to the bottom of the retracement, okay, and then we get some lines that could be price reactive moving forward. So we can see here it's been very valid so far. Here we found rejection exactly off our pitchfork. Here rejection, here rejection, here support, here rejection. So this pitchfork, and look here how it was acting as support. So this pitchfork has been very valid moving forward. So we're getting rejected off this resistance zone for the moment at $1.27. We might fall down and retest this blue support line on this pitchfork. If we cannot maintain within this pitchfork, if we start to break down from this pitchfork, I think that is our cue that this could have been a bull trap, and that we could see another leg down to the downside here, a substantial leg down to the downside. I'd wager again from $1.07 to about $1 will act as strong support, and kind of like a temporary floor for Cardano would be $1.15 to I'd say $1.12. Again, a spike in volume in these regions. You know, we got wicked off these regions before, so this is kind of a price reactive level, but I think stronger support would be kind of this region here, and if and when we can get that 100 EMA on the 6-hour lining up in these regions, that's going to act as very strong support. Another thing to note as well, Cardano is kind of in this macro ascending triangle here. So worst case scenario, we may even just fall back down to retest the lower extremities of this green support line here. So something like that is definitely possible, this green support line based off these 3 wicks here. So I think kind of that's the worst scenario. We could technically fall down below $1 and just retest this green support line. And that could be a good buy the dip opportunity in my opinion. So let's take a look at our indicators here before we move on to a macro news event that you need to be aware of with Cardano. So let's begin by looking at the daily here. So looking at the daily, ooh, this is concerning. We may have a bearish crossover on the daily MACD. We have twice now tried to have a bearish breakdown on the MACD on the daily, and we have twice not had it. Will this be the time? If we break down below this pitchfork here, that may be the cue that we will get the bearish crossover on the daily. If we get that bearish crossover on the daily, retesting this green support line all of a sudden becomes a lot more likely, in my opinion, folks. So this is going to be very important to look at moving forward. Weighted MACD, which acts as a leading indicator on the MACD, has had a bearish crossover on the way down. Stochastic RSI, great for identifying shifts and trends. Bearish crossover on the way down on the daily, and then regular RSI in the overbought regions, going down, lower highs and lower lows, very bearish. The daily on Cardano looks bearish. I've been saying for a while that the technicals on Cardano look concerning because we're getting lower highs in RSI paired with higher highs in price action. Whenever we get that, it means we're getting bearish divergence. The upward momentum is running out of steam, so that is very concerning to see. So let's see if this carries over, this weakness carries over to the lower time frame. So let's look at the 12. So yeah, 12 still on the way down. It's just an extension of the daily. 12 looks bearish. Let's take a look at the 6 hour. Okay, 6 hour. Not so much doom and gloom. Histogram ticking up. Weighted MACD on the way up. Stochastic RSI on the way up. Regular RSI just chilling, not really making big moves. So let's take a look at the 4. 4 hour. Yep. Yeah, stochastic bearish crossover does not want to go up. Weighted MACD, let's see here. Ooh, curving down. Histogram ticking up. I don't think it's very strong. Let's take a look at the 2. Yeah, 2 hour on the way down. Weighted MACD, yeah, weighted MACD bearish crossover. Stochastic RSI on the way down. Yep, 2 hour looks bearish. And let's look at the 1 hour. 1 hour looks bearish as well. Bearish crossover on the MACD, bearish crossover on the stochastic RSI. Regular RSI cannot make higher highs. This looks bearish. Let's see if we can see any strength. Half an hour, bearish as well. Let's take a look if we can see strength on the 5 minute. And the 5 minute looks bearish as well. Folks, this looks all around concerning for Cardano. So I think to try to understand if we can have a big move down, I think, again, it's going to be very critical to see how we react off this pitchfork. It's been insanely valid and price reactive all throughout this range here. So if we break down from this pitchfork, I think that's our cue that a bigger move to, I'd say $1.70, $1.05, or even $1 makes a lot of sense, or even retesting this green support line here. But although the technicals do look concerning, it is not all completely doom and gloom for Cardano. We've had a major update to Cardano, the launch of Mary, which will bring native coins to the Cardano ecosystem. So just like Ethereum has the ERC20 tokens, with the launch of the Mary hard fork, which was March 1st, people will now be able to create native cryptocurrencies on Cardano. That is a huge milestone for Cardano. Again, I was saying we were likely to have an anticipatory run-up leading up to Goguen and a lot of these rollouts of different improvements to Cardano. So while the Mary hard fork was released March 1st, we still have Goguen to look forward to. So Mary hard fork and Goguen, they're all just names of different phases of rollouts to Cardano's ecosystem's functionality. So Mary brought the native tokens to Cardano, and Goguen aims to further improve and further hash out the ecosystem by bringing smart contracts and making it a multi-asset blockchain. So just Goguen aims to bring up about further improvements, and that we still have that to look forward to sometime this month. We don't know for sure when, but again, around the launch of Goguen, that being an insanely bullish catalyst for Cardano, a giant milestone. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of an anticipatory run-up and a pump leading up to the release of Goguen, just like we had an anticipatory run-up leading up to the release of Mary. So those are kind of my thoughts with Cardano in the short term here. Long term, I think Cardano does have a good chance of reaching $5 to $10. I do not know that for sure. I could be wrong. I find it far more helpful to look to scale out and sell out of long-term positions, more so based off time frames and less so based off price targets. I think Bitcoin has a good chance of reaching its peak September, October this year, and Cardano and the altcoins reached their peak roughly a month after Bitcoin last cycle, so I imagine something similar could happen this cycle. So come late third quarter, early fourth quarter is when I'll start to scale out and sell slowly over time. Whatever the market happens to give me, whether that's $3, $5, $10, or $100, whatever it may be, I'm going to sell based off time frames and not so much based off price targets, because I do believe we're in the beginning stages of a bull run, but I do think at some point this bull run is going to end, and we're going to have a macro market correction for an extended period of time, much like the previous cycles. You know, there's arguments that with the institutions being in here and with the total cryptocurrency market cap growing and maturing, that the cycles are going to become less relevant and coins will just move based off their fundamentals. And look, I'm open-minded to all those arguments and all those ideas, but I do believe the cycles have been such a driving force historically in the cryptocurrency markets that I still believe that they're going to have some bearing on what's to come in the future. And so I am going to be scaling out of almost all my positions come around the end of this year. So folks, make sure you tune into the channel. We'll be breaking down the market all throughout this bull run. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon notified of new uploads. Join our Discord group, link for that down in the description below. We talk crypto there all the time. We post news articles, trading resources, technical analysis resources. We have semi-regular coin calls with our Discord members where we break down the market, share thoughts, have voice calls, answer questions, talk to people. So join our Discord, guys. It's very lots of helpful stuff, especially our VIP Discord group that you get access to through our Patreon. Link for our Patreon is down in the description below. You get access to our VIP Discord where we talk about low cap gems, setups, and a lot of very helpful resources for so many fronts, for investing, for trading, for learning, tons of stuff going on. So if you like us, you want to support us, consider doing that. Link down in the description below. We will also be giving away a hardware wallet randomly to one of the first 100 Patreon members, so consider joining our Patreon. Now, before I leave you guys, I also want to mention the Cardano Ethereum pairs and the Cardano Bitcoin pairing, because I was ringing the alarm bell back in these ranges here, saying we broke out of key resistance and that we're likely to explode. And well, we really did. Now we're seeming to have a bit of a correction, okay? But something I've noted, which is the Cardano Bitcoin pair and the Cardano Ethereum pair, in my opinion, can sometimes act as a leading indicator on the US dollar value of Cardano. So whenever we stop seeing our correction here and start to go for a macro impulse up, I think that is when we start to see Cardano really start to take off here and break above these major resistance levels. So understanding what the Cardano Bitcoin and Ethereum pairings are doing are going to be very important for understanding what the US dollar value for Cardano will do moving forward. And I'll just leave you guys with this chart. I always like bringing this up because it's very helpful in my opinion. The Bitcoin dominance chart, whether you're in Bitcoin or in altcoins, it is always important to keep your eye on not only Bitcoin, because Bitcoin leads the market. Whatever Bitcoin does will have an effect on the market. If Bitcoin decides to swan dive into nothingness, that is definitely going to affect Cardano. If Bitcoin decides to just explode and jump $10,000 in a day, that is definitely going to affect the altcoins and Cardano. So understanding what Bitcoin is doing is very important to understand what the altcoins can do, and as well the Bitcoin dominance chart. For those who don't know, Bitcoin dominance is the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to the total value of all cryptocurrency. Whenever it rises, altcoins typically suffer. Whenever it falls, altcoins typically benefit. So I pulled out the Heikin-Ashi candles to help better identify kind of the trends we're seeing in Bitcoin dominance. So whenever we see Bitcoin dominance go for that leg down, that should tell you that's going to help the altcoins pump because more money is moving into the altcoins in comparison to the Bitcoin. Whenever you see Bitcoin dominance start to rise, that should tell you that's going to place the dampers on the altcoins pumping because more money is flowing into Bitcoin in comparison to the rest of the market. So very important chart to look at to try and gauge how much steam the altcoins and Bitcoin have at any one moment. If and when we can get below, I'd say, 60.5 to 57.5 in Bitcoin dominance here, I think that's when altcoins really start to fly here. This region was acting as support. We were moving range bound within this region here. So this is a very reactive region for Bitcoin dominance. If and when we can fall below this region, which I do believe it's just a matter of time. But whether that's next week, next month, 1 quarter, or 2 quarters from now, eventually I believe we're going to fall below these regions here. And once we do, I believe we are flying. I think the altcoins are really going to start to take off once we see Bitcoin dominance fall below 57, 57.5, 57. So yeah, folks, look, those are all my thoughts with Cardano. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon, notified of new uploads. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.